I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about myself, just a little bit. And then I'm going to get into why I left Islam and why I have planned to do all of this that I want to do. As you guys know, my name is Amina Sardar. I am from Denmark. I'm born and raised in Denmark. And my roots, many people have been asking me, what is your name Sardar for? Are you Indian? Are you Sikh? So I can tell you this much, that my root is from Afghanistan. And I also have some connection to India and to Pakistan and Denmark, of course, because I'm born in Denmark. I consider myself Danish, but of course there can be so many debates out there. Well, just because you're born in Denmark doesn't make you Danish, but I feel Danish. So that is a little bit about my background that you have been asking about. And let's start. By the age of 12, when I was young, I asked my mom, who is Allah? Like many other Muslim children maybe ask. And to that, I got an answer, which was that nobody should ask this kind of a question. This is how it is. So basically, I was kind of, you can say, shushed. You don't ask these kind of questions about Allah or about Islam in general. But later on, when I was around 18, 20, I started dating a little bit. I had a little teeny mini freedom to date. I didn't do it in the open. I did it, you can say, in a way hidden. There were people who did not know. So even though I have lived in Denmark, in a free country, I really didn't have any freedom. So I did try to date, but I remember being told that do not date Shia Muslim. And I was amazed because as a Muslim, I didn't know that I was Sunni Muslim. And as a Sunni Muslim, there is a Shia Muslim, and they are considered non-Muslims, in fact, by Sunnis. That I got to know. And that was something confusing. Can you imagine going on a date and asking the guy the first question, hey, by the way, are you Shia or are you Sunni? Because if you are Shia, I won't date you. Can you imagine being so judgmental? Within Islam, being judgmental people, that is what I felt. I was really shocked that in Islam, you have these kind of sects, these groups in between. Anyway, I didn't think so much of it, just a little bit, but I didn't think so much of it. But it did sit in my head, at the back of my head, that I have to be careful. That one thing is that I should not date a non-Muslim, that is a Danish guy. But I should also be careful that I should not date any Shia Muslim. And keep in mind, I did not even know about what or who Ahmadiyya Muslims are. That I found out later on, but that I will tell you later. And then that was not that much of a problem, because in my life I had very relaxed, you can say, upbringing within the, the Islamic rules. There were not, Islam didn't fill so much in my daily routines, but the culture was still there. So restrictions were still there. And I did also get married to a guy which I did not find very wow factor about, but I did marry, because you know the culture is, when your father says that you have to do something, you do it. Your opinion actually doesn't really matter. But I'm not today with that guy. I did leave him when I was live with Haris Sultan, I couldn't tell you this in detail because I didn't have much time to tell you. But that is just a side story I'm telling you. And I always trusted Quran. I trusted Islam. I trusted Allah. I never doubted the Quran. When I was 7, I started reading Quran. I finished at the age of 9. But you see, that's the thing. I realized later on that as a Muslim, we follow Islam blindly. As a Muslim, we have to follow Islam blindly. We are not allowed to question Islam in any way because that is wrong. That I can remember. But yeah, and another thing, I never in my house really heard about Muhammad. I remember watching movies about Moses and Jesus, not really about Muhammad. But my focus was and love was for Allah. Then in around 2003 or 5, there was a situation in Denmark. There was this thing about drawing of Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad. And there was a big chaos in Denmark. There were people, destroying the other people's cars, pure chaos. The man who drew Prophet Muhammad, his life was actually at stake. People were hunting him. They wanted to kill him. It was a big, big, big scene. And I remember telling myself when somebody said, "Oh, Amina, it's so horrible. I don't know why they're doing this. Why did they draw Prophet Muhammad?" And I remember thinking, why don't they keep their religion to themselves? Why do they even get bothered by a drawing? That was just my opinion. I didn't get bothered by it at all. I was like, okay, they drew, and so what? Get over it. But do not mistake, I did have respect because I started understanding that there is a prophet called Muhammad. And later on, there was so much talk about Muhammad being married to Bibi Aisha. You all know about the story of Bibi Aisha, Prophet Muhammad's youngest wife. And as a Muslim, I was studying the facts of whether it was true that Muhammad, the Prophet Muhammad, the beloved prophet of Muslims, did he actually marry a 6-year-old girl and consume the marriage when Bibi Aisha was 9 years old? I actually went online. Telling ya, I really, really went online and started researching which hadith is saying, because you all know that there are Sahih hadiths, then there are weak hadiths, according to certain imams. And when I found out that it was true that Prophet Muhammad, Muslims, Prophet Muhammad, did marry a 6-year-old girl, Bibi Aisha, and consumed the marriage when she was 9, that it was true, then I actually left the hadith. As a Muslim, I said to myself, how can I believe in a saying where the prophet of Muslims is being degraded? For me, it was like he's being degraded, he's being looked at as a pedophile. So I chose to leave hadith. But I can tell you this much. When it later on came out public, when I was writing on my Facebook page or to Muslim people that I have left hadith, I don't believe in hadith, but I believe in Quran, Muslims were actually calling me kufr, kafir, that I was a disbeliever because I was believing in the Quran and not in the hadiths. Can you imagine a scenario that I, as a Muslim, believing in God's words, but not believing a man-made book? So, by doing the right thing, I was being called a kafir, kufr, a disbeliever. Anyway, and much more, I started studying Islam for the first time after all of this with Muhammad and, him being called pedophile and all, me leaving the hadith, then I started saying to myself, Amina, do you know what you are believing in? Do you even know what Islam really is? Who is Allah? So I, in 2016, sat down and I started studying the Quran. I wanted answers. I actually started looking for the truth about Islam, the truth about Allah. And I can tell you this much. Further and further, I went in the research, in the search of the truth of Islam. Further did I go away from Islam. My intention was nowhere near leaving Islam. It wasn't. But I remember sitting till 3 o'clock in the morning, studying the Quran, trying to find answers about what is Islam. And one of the classic surahs from the Quran is Surah Baqarah, verse 256. It says that there is freedom in religion. There is freedom in Islam. But if you study the Quran further in Surah 3, verse 83, it actually says the opposite. That you, in fact, as a believer, or just as a human being, don't have any choice but to follow Islam. You actually don't have freedom. I found so many contradictions in Quran that I can't even the list is long. I will tell you in my other videos slowly what was it that I found. There are people, for example, in Denmark, the Muslim women, they talk about that women in Islam, they have loads of respect. They have equality. But I found out just alone in the Quran that a woman in Islam is not equal to a man, a Muslim man. She's not. If I even tell you guys what I found in the hadith, it is unbelievable what I found. But there were too many contradictions in the Quran that made me leave Islam. And I was feeling so bad that I actually cried. I cried because here I was at the age of that I am, that I found out that what I had believed in my entire life was a lie. It was completely a lie. And I also, while I was doing the search of the truth about Islam for myself, I was also trying to reform Islam, kind of talking positive about Islam or trying to tell the Muslims about certain things. But you know what I found out? Even when I was trying to talk positive about Islam, trying to reform Islam in a positive way, it backfired. And everything that I was saying from the Quran. But I was being blocked from Facebook. I was being rejected by Muslims when I was Muslim. So when someone says, can Islam be reformed? I don't think so, because it's very difficult. It surprises me sometimes when people say, when many Muslims out there, they say that Islam is a religion of peace. When Islam is a religion of peace, how come many, you can say, people who have left Islam, they have to fear for their lives? Why? Why should a atheist who doesn't believe, or whoever it is, especially those who have left Islam, why should they fear for their life if Islam actually is a tolerant and a, you can say, peaceful religion? If it's true about Surah Baqarah verse 256 that there is freedom in religion, how come people who leave Islam are hunted? I got loads of message on my YouTube, be safe, be careful, you're showing your face. I mean, by reading all of that, I do say thank you to all of you guys who wrote these beautiful words for me, to me. But I find it very interesting that I have to fear for my life if I choose not to believe in Allah.